Mr. James Scarlett, we go again.
Hi, mate. How are you doing? You okay?
I'm probably a bit as excited as I've ever been coming onto this podcast.
Fucking hell.
I mean, we've got our own reasons. We're obviously going to be on tour as of today. I will be heading to Brighton that night. I've got a nervous energy about that. But more importantly, and what we're going to get into right off the bat, because time is of the essence for listeners to this podcast who are once again going to get a 4-hour window into going and buying something that's not going to be available to the public until 10 a.m. For the last couple of years, since we started this, we have been repeatedly asked, when are you guys going to do something together? Why don't you co-promote together? What would you do a festival together? And the answer's always like, no. Festivals are tricky business, and the last thing anyone needs is another one popping up. We're busy enough with what we've got. However, we are going to work together on something else, which I believe will be the tour of 2026. Two promoters, one pod, proudly presents the first ever UK tour for We Lost the Sea. And if that wasn't spectacular enough, support from Overhead the Albatross and Dim Skewer. What a package, James. What a package.
Mate, that is the ultimate two promoters, one pod package, isn't it? You couldn't have picked. It's the Gavin McAnally. You've lain in bed at night, dreaming of such a package, right?
It's a dream. It's a dream for me. I mean, obviously, it's three bands heavily woven through this podcast, especially in the last year with the latter two of the supports. I mean, heavily involved in this podcast as well, and then both our festivals, and then a huge sort of fan base program. So it really is a dream package for me. I want you, if you're driving at the moment, pull over in your lay-by and just go get these tickets. If you're at the train, go to this website. At 10 a.m, this will go live. The bands themselves, I mean, at the minute, if you're a We Lost to See fanboy from the UK and you've been on their mailing list and you had their first record before them they heard it and you told everyone else, but We Lost to See, they've not been told about this yet. They will find out about this at 10 a.m. If you're one of the first listeners to this podcast, comes out at 6 o'clock, then you know before any of these bands' fans. Go to welosttosea.com. The tickets to all 5 dates will be there. Those 5 dates are May 22nd, Nottingham, Rescue Rooms. May 23rd, London, Electric Ballroom. May 24th, Manchester Academy 3. May 25th, Glasgow Slay. And May 26th, Bristol Thelka. Now,
Thekla.
What's it called?
Thekla.
Okay, that's the dates. Those are the cities they're hitting. 5 dates across the UK. We Lost to See have only ever played festivals, Damnation and Dark Tangent, and a one-off show at London. This is the first time they're doing a UK tour. This is the first time that they will play Scotland, my home city of Glasgow. That is the package. We're going to get into it all, how it all came to be, how I view promoting this differently from anything else, or the difference between a festival promoting and local promoting, and why I don't bother with local promoting and why I'm bothering with this. But if you don't need to know all that, any of that information before you get your ticket, go and get it right now at welosttosea.com. The links will be there. 22 quid a ticket. You're not getting robbed for it either. It is going to be not only the fucking post-rock tour of the fucking year, the tour of the year, the post-rock tour of the decade.
Mate, it is, and as we will discuss, no doubt, at the end of the year, that We Lost the Sea, I feel like they've suddenly moved into like they've jumped up a couple of leagues in the sort of post-rock league table, haven't they? It's like that album is, I'm not saying it's their best album because I know everyone goes back to Departure songs, but like really establishes them as a serious fucking proposition in post-rock, and also the packed nature of particularly the ATG main stage set was fucking great.
Yeah, I mean, in my head, I've got a wee slight beam up on it, but the whole We Lost to See thing, because I think they're already at the top table, and doing 600 plus tickets on a Monday night in London at their own headline show puts them, I mean, not at Godspeed You Black Emperor, Explosion in the Sky and Mogwai level, but that next rung of all those bands that do about that type of ticket. But because they don't have the data, because they don't have the ticket sales to go to places and say, look, this is how many we've done in Glasgow and Bristol and Nottingham, they are sometimes looked upon as maybe being a bit risky. So Like, believing it with us. Let's show everyone as well. I mean, they're headlining Dunk Festival, for fuck's sake. I mean, Dunk believe in them. So it's quite special. I mean, to wind this all back, this tour was birthed in a tent at Arctangent with me sitting with the entire band of We Lost the Sea and their crew, the tour manager, sound man, everyone was there. And I was chatting to Mark from the band, and he said they were going to be headlining Dunk. We're going to do these 2 special sets at Dunk, and there was a possibility of them doing the UK. And I was like, well, Glasgow's always on the table with me. I don't promote locally but for We Lost the Sea, I will make sure that they get a good gig in Glasgow. And it was a bit like, well, how would you feel? Like, would you and James be interested with the sort of the might of Arctangent and Damnation are putting something behind it? And I says, well, absolutely. We want to think bigger picture. And I actually said, why don't we do We Lost the Sea, Overhead the Albatross, and Dim Skewer? I mean, what a package that would be. And he was already all in Overhead the Albatross and had bought the record for Dim Skewer. So it all came together perfectly. And I was like, here we are. I mean, it was August. For 3 months, 4 months later, with it all ready to go. So, I mean, do you remember the first time I ever even broached that subject with you?
No. Well, no. I feel like we've been talking about it for months. I guess we have been talking about it for months. But I think it would have been at Arctangent probably. When you were chatting to them, was that in your? I was in your glamping tent, was it, with the Gavin McIntyre name badge on the outside?
And
just
the
want to
Gavin
picture it
McIntyre name
properly.
badge on the outside. And if anyone wants to know the capacity of those tents, about 13 adult males. If everyone still wants to be off the floor, about 13 adult males, me and a lot of Australians were in that tent at the time. An absolute amazing weekend with, I mean, I felt that you said it yourself, like it's not because they had a good sales in London and it had a good show at Damnation that it makes you midway up the main stage at Arctangent or fill in the tent. I mean, they had to come and prove at what's commonly known as a more post-rock leaning festival that they could still mix it with the big boys, and did. I mean, easily. I mean, 2 of the best sets of the weekend. So I was absolutely delighted when that all came about. It started bubbling away back then. And unfortunately, what happened to me is Damnation was on the horizon, and it fell away from me a wee bit, to be honest. There was a lot of organisation get done but I wasn't really involved in. And that was unfortunate because for the very start, I'll try to make clear, because we can get into some of the challenges of like festival promoting to local promoting, but I was very adamant for the start. I'm not interested in just being the guy that hosts something in a city and then hopes it goes well and gets my 20 split. If I'm going to get involved with something like this, I want to be part of the collaboration. I want to be part of the discussions and the decisions that get made with it. Otherwise, it's not exciting to me at all. So I think at the very start, there was a wee bit of maybe butting heads a bit with that, and then I kind of fell out of the picture. Unfortunately. And then when I was in Egypt, a poster got presented to us saying, well, here's the tour you guys are promoting. And I was a bit like, where the fuck's Dim Skewer? I mean, there's a starting point right there. Where is Dim Skewer? And it was a strange one because it seemed to be one of those ones where they cross wires, where the band's probably never asked, and then no one got in touch with Dim Skewer, and then it was just a sort of like, oh, we've not really thought this all properly through. And I was about like, well, let's get this back on the road the way that we want to do it. If you want me to go into a podcast and like genuinely wax lyrical about this and give it the full beans, as James Scarlett would say, I want a reason for them not to be there. If they can't do it because they can't do it, fine. I mean, we can't force a band to do it. But if they can do it, let's make sure it is. And lo and behold, they found, I had a chat with them last night. This was obviously before they'd always known they were being here, but they are massive We Lost the Sea fans. They were willing to cancel, postpone, do whatever to get on this package. They are buzzing about being in this package too. So I'm glad we managed to make that original conversation in the tent at Tangent, where the drunk Australians all will look like the poster you're about to get in a few hours' time.
Mate, these 3 bands are like, if you had to choose between your 3 children, it's like, to you, it's the, I don't want you to rank them, just to be clear, but I don't know if you could. I think it would break you.
When I saw the poster as well, so you'd literally have to put a picture of my family up there for me to be more excited about this tour. I mean, it's like, you're right. It is. It's everything. I mean, there's so many other bands I clearly like in those genres, but I feel that something about this package I think works extra special because I feel like they complement each other as well as 3 very different styles within a loose genre of post-rock, post-metal. And
But what makes it exciting isn't that it's just three great bands. It's that it's three bands that are like, so Overhead the Albatross and Dim Skewer have clearly had really good years, haven't they? Like they've just appeared and played to packed crowds at A to G and Damnation, and like have really like just gone totally to the next level. I mean, they've jumped about 4 or 5 rungs up, and then like I just said before about We Lost the Sea, it feels like that there's like some sort of thing happening with them in the UK now. So those three, it's not like being like, as much as I love the bands, it's not putting Maybe She Will, God is an Astronaut, and
We Lost This Will Destroy You.
yeah, it's not like a package of we've seen this has been done. These are great bands. This feels like it's just an exciting new thing of like new stuff that's happening. Even though some of the bands have been around for quite a long time. So yeah, I'm stoked on it.
And they're not, the venues are not messing about. Now, it's a bit of a hodgepodge. Like you've got, there's a promoter in Nottingham, yourself, Miles will be tackling Bristol and London. I've got Glasgow and Manchester. So it's not like, there's a few professionals involved to get it, but it's our tour in the sense of I'm promoting Nottingham as much as I'm promoting Glasgow. This whole thing is under the package, 2 promoters, 1 pod. I want to try new avenues. I want to have, like, if sponsors would get involved, or if somebody knew a hot sauce supplier who could maybe do, I mean, I think there's a We Lost the Sea Loose Brews out there, but could you get a Dim Skewer one, or could you get an Overhead Albatross? Do we have any merchandise companies that we know, like a Pins and Knuckles or an ISO merch that could supply? I mean, with beer companies or cider companies can get involved. I mean, I want to, like, we've got connections. The whole point, this is just isn't a platform to share with stuff. We've got connections. Can we make this better for the bands? Can more money be made for the bands too? So I'm quite excited about all that, although that's not been discussed yet. But even just shooting the shit when stuff like that happens, like, why wouldn't these companies want to get involved in a tour like this as well? And the venues, I mean, especially London. I mean, Electric Ballroom was at 1,500 cap. They're not messing about. It's like, we're here to deliver. We're not here to, like, dip our foot in and just see if, like, the people care. We're here to prove the point. Is there a fan base in the UK that are with us and with this podcast and want to support this and change the way that we could do future tours for the UK? Or is there not? And in which case you go like, okay, but that's promoting in a nutshell, isn't it? Nothing's guaranteed, or else it would just, you would never use a promoter. If it was all guaranteed, you just stick it on yourself.
No, absolutely. So you're I feel like this is like the next level for us, isn't it? It's like you've now got your sights on 2 promoters, 1 pod tours.
I mean, I feel like we promote good festivals that attract good numbers, and we are now in a podcast that does exceptional numbers of listeners, and there is a platform. Now, here's the example. Fucking Dim Skewer last week released a vinyl. A vinyl. And before they'd even told their fans, it had even been published by Dim Skewer, they had sold out of the variant. For 100 copies had gone just with 2 promoters, 1 pod, listeners between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. I mean, process how stupid that is. I mean, I don't even listen to the podcast before 10. It's how many, and 100 people of the people that listened all went and bought that vinyl, and then they sold another 400 after without our variant, but the other 4. They had to hold stock back for the promise to suppliers because they'd sold that much, and you're like, why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we try and use that platform to push bands like this? I mean, if this all sells out, and you're right that this is a very Gavin McAnally. I mean, I can get myself giddy. I mean, I had to do breathing exercises before we started this, and because I knew how excited I was going to get at the fucking top of this tour. But the next one could be a fucking James Scarlett Spit or Anzi Pazuzu and Duel and Inter Armour packaged up and put together for the UK. But it's once the management and agent go in, they're like, okay, well, this is something new. You're trying something a bit different. This isn't just aimlessly throwing money at targeted ads on Meta and hoping something sticks. It's like there's clear an audience there, and it's doing sales for ISO merch, Loose Brews, fucking Dim Skewers, beers. We weren't even promoting Dim Skewers beers, and they ended up getting orders because you were saying it was great last week. You know what I mean? So it's like, great. And that's not even to blow smoke up our asses. It's like, if that is all true, and it is, then why wouldn't we try something like that? And then if it does work, why wouldn't we try it again? Why wouldn't we go and try another tour? Because It's fucking, I mean, something like this. I mean, I want to be at all of these dates. I want to be at all 5 of them up and down the UK. These are 3 of my current favourite bands that I am very excited about. And I want to be sickened by them. That's how much I want to see these fucking bands.
Mate, you're going to
So,
be hanging off the back of the tour bus, aren't you? Hanging off the back of the van or whatever they're in.
whenever the double bed is like the Star Sleeper ones, I'll be in that one. So I'm very, very excited. And the bands themselves, I feel that, yeah, I mean, you said that they're so interlinked now with a podcast that them skewer out of nowhere, where there are 200 streams, and pal randomly mentioned it to me because I said I didn't enjoy the new Turnstile album, and then they absolutely packed Art Tangent, they absolutely packed Damnation. Every time you see them mentioned anywhere now, it is, oh, they were amazing at this show or whatever. I noticed yesterday one of these old deals in London, they're headlining now. So it's clearly other promoters are saying, like, as you said, you've jumped those 4 rungs, you 8,000 plays in Spotify now. That's up there with like a Cult Leader or a Coil Guns, you know what I mean? Like an established band that people know and enjoy. So when I had the call with them last night, like, this band, I have no manager, no agent, and they basically just asked me for a chat to get a bit of advice about, like, the golfers coming in left, right, and centre, and they don't want to be getting caught out. And it's about, like, fucking no worries are getting caught out. This doesn't, you know, because they're not kids. This is like teenagers, like they're grown ass adults with kids of their own and jobs and fucking breweries, and they're a bit like, right, we understand what's happening here, as shocking as it is, but we don't want to treat this like we're just wet behind the ears and getting caught out with things as well. So whatever's next for them could be the difference between them kind of sticking at this level and being like, oh, that was great, or bouncing on and off 4 rungs.
Yeah, mate, they need a manager.
But don't look at me, I can barely manage myself.
My least favourite thing in the music industry is managing bands. So
and that always rings in my ears
recommend
anyway. If I was ever going to be tempted to try to be an agent or a manager, it would be like a van like Dim Skewer over at the Albatross. But when I see, anytime I see you mention it, the love drains for your eyes, and I could just imagine. It sounds terrible.
I've only done it with 2 bands. We've never properly discussed it. We won't do it now. But fuck, yeah, it's
I mean,
it's a
those
lot.
guys, you get into that event, that's your opening set. Overhead the Albatross have caused massive waves this year. I mean, their set at Art Tangent was just, it changed. I mean, it was a highlight of the weekend for a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people just were not expecting for that emotional sucker punch that early in the morning. The tent was fucking rammed. And then I changed the direction what I was doing with them at Damnation because I was so impressed with what you'd done with them at Art Tangent, and I put them on my main stage, and the exact same thing happened again. A load of people walked in, it's like, by the time Paul Lynch is on, half the fucking venue's crying. And it's like, already, so you've got that unbelievable, like, dark blackened post metal of Dim Skewer into this electronic instrumental post rock gang chants that is going to pick up the vibe again while still being emotionally heavy. And then from that into We Lost the Sea, who I think are the best actively recording post-rock band in the world. I think that Godspeed You Black Emperor, Mogwai and Explosion of the Sky will always stand alone because they were there first and they put out those records, and they kind of got the whole post-rock scene in a stranglehold. It's like, it's difficult to make good post-rock. It's easy to make shit post-rock, but everyone is still coming from somewhere for the mould with their Mogwais and Explosion Sky and Godspeed You Black Emperor. But when those 3 bands release new music, I'm not that excited. Like, I don't rush to go and listen to the new Mogwai album. In fact, I don't really think I've given much Explosions in the Sky much time in the last 10 years, 15 years. I mean, and when I do listen, I always go back to the earlier records. I feel like Explosion in the Sky and Mogwai have become very good at just doing Explosion in the Sky and Mogwai music. And We Lost the Sea, they obviously had music when they were a post-metal band with a singer, and then obviously the masterpiece, Departure Songs. They'll argue that they think that Triumph and Disaster's a better album than Departure Songs. It's not, but it goes in its own direction. It's quite desolate, and it's a bit cold in comparison. And then they've come back with A Single Flower, which is, you could argue, is every bit as good as Departure Songs if you took away the extra meaning or how long Departure Songs is sat with people. I mean, a Single Flower is a very, very special record, and I'm excited for it.
It's going to be in it's going to be in my top 20 albums of the year.
I mean,
Like,
how
I
can a
don't even
post rock
like,
even
I don't
get
even
there?
fucking like post rock.
That's how good that is. People, even James has fallen in love with it. So, I mean, and this is an unrestricted. We've only seen We Lost the Sea in the 45, 50-minute festival sets of what they've been able to do. This will be unrestricted, 90 minutes, all the best at everything they've got in their back catalogue. It's going to be incredible. I mean, I could sit here and talk about this tour for another hour, but I think that does it justice. We probably will talk about it quite regularly up until it happens in May next year. But you, at the moment, if you're listening to this before 10 a.m, have the opportunity to go and get those tickets before anyone else. In turn, supporting the promoters that are behind these shows, including myself and James, and in turn, supporting the pod and believing in the pod for us to come up with this idea and doing this. And we would appreciate it massively. www.welostthesea.com. All ticket links there. Go and buy yourself a Christmas present, buy all your pals Christmas presents. I cannot see how you can go to another gig next year and it'll be better than this. I say hand in heart, I cannot see another 3-band show that is going to be better than this. And for 22 quid, it's a fucking no-brainer.
Absolutely. I'm with you, mate. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in Bristol when you come on the whole tour. The Bristol show's on a boat, by the way. It's quite a famous venue. You heard of this
This
venue?
one you said you had Amin Ryan.
Yeah, Armin Ryan, but I think it's Boris, isn't it?
It's Boris.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah.
And that for the end of the tour, because those boys know how to, they know how to play, but they also know how to fucking party. And it's like, by that show,
So that night's the one.
that's
The
like,
last
that
night.
might as well be in a boat in Bristol. What better place to go for the final party? I assume that's the last day of the tour, and from there they fly back to Australia. But aye, nothing but love for the guys, and it's a different thing for me with We Lost. I've got a very personal connection with them too, and I want to see this. Money's the furthest thing down the. I mean, I want to make money the same as anyone does when they go to their bed in the morning to do their job, but it's so far down the priority list than this. I'd rather make no money and them having 5 smashing nights and me being there and enjoying 5 smashing nights. I can make my money at Damnation. So I support it. Let's go.
Fuck yeah, let's do it. So, I mean, I only wish that you were as good at promoting your own podcast tour as you were at promoting other tours. So, tomorrow, literally tomorrow, I'm seeing you in Bristol.
Yeah, you had me confused there. I was like, well, hold on a second. This goes out. We're in Brighton that night, but you mean from today, which is Tuesday? Yes.
In the real world that we record in now. I'm seeing you tomorrow in Bristol, and on Thursday morning, Shifty's picking us up in the van, and we're heading to Brighton, meeting Tom there. So, how are you feeling? What's the vibe?
I'm better now. I mean, there was it's again, you pull back the curtains and just tell people how we really operate. It's like when we were yesterday and we had no accommodation in Brighton, Cardiff, Manchester. We had a van, but we never really knew what the plan is with that. I had no flights to Bristol. Certainly didn't even know I was coming to Bristol. I was a bit like, we should probably have some of this in place. This is very last minute, even for me who does a lot of things last minute. But I feel like we put a good hard shift into it, got the planning together quite successfully. A lot of nice places to stay, nice van. We've upgraded the van substantially. It's the places we've got to stay look very nice. Looking forward to that too. And then by Manchester, I mean, everyone's coming. Your family's coming, my family's coming. I mean, by Manchester, I am ready to let go. But in a minute, those pre-going out there, the nerves, because we've got a new set. And even when we done it in the first time, when we walked out in Bristol, we had no idea if we were going to go through all 9 segments of that board in 15 minutes, or if it could have taken us for 4 hours. And until you got there and you do that first one, you don't know how things are going to go.
No, it's pretty terrifying, the first one, isn't it? I mean, so yesterday you did a brilliant job of like the logistics, but I do want to let anyone that goes to Damnation in on a little secret. Like halfway through yesterday, Gav was suddenly raging about the cost of hotels in Manchester on a Saturday night. So what he's done is he's left it to the last minute. I mean, not just him, but let's just blame him.
I know. How is it just me?
to book a hotel in Manchester, and he's really cross about the cost of it. And I'm like, mate, there's like literally 3,000 people go to Damnation posting exactly the same thing on Facebook in every November. Fuck, I haven't booked my Damnation hotels. Because
And what
it seems, I mean, I'm going to start a new business, and it's a hotel in Manchester, because fuck me.
the money involved, bro,
They
it's going to
must
cost us like
be-
almost £900 for us to get 4 rooms, 4 standard rooms, £900. It's like, but no, my argument back when it comes to parking or getting hotels or accommodation, and most of these things that people like all panic about 14 months in advance, and then book 17 and cancel that and put half their life in it, is 9 times out of 10, you just dig a little deeper and you just think outside the box, you can find something. And that's exactly what I've done. I just put instead of looking for like 3 or 4 people, I made it look for 8 people. And I found a place that was 2 miles from Bedshed for 4 bedrooms. 8 people could be accommodated there. And it was, what was it, £400 for the night? Half it. And you could add that, I could even add the Sunday on for £138 if you just wanted to lie there with a hangover the next day. So I have found that more often than not with Damnation or parking. If everybody's getting themselves all stressed about parking and you just drive up on the day and park right outside the gate and walk in, a lot of times it pans out okay. And I know I'm saying that and I'm going to get stung badly one time, but yesterday was another example of, you just try a bit harder and search different places and try to think a wee bit outside the box about where you're actually going to go and stay. Sometimes good results do happen.
No, you smashed it. That was funny, but you smashed it. So, in terms of what we're gonna like talk about, I think we got, because again, we last time we left it late and we planned really late, and then it all kind of came good, and there's some brilliant shows on the last tour, if I do say so myself. Like, some of them were just like some of the best nights I've ever had, and I feel like we've started to find it's going to be quite different to the last tour, but I feel like it will be equally as good. I'm quite there's a bunch of stuff that we've talked about on the pod where we're going to revisit and go into the actual secrets and the actual, like, we'll talk about Kneecap, but properly talk about what actually happened, stuff that I don't want recorded and people aren't allowed to hold a video.
Yeah, I mean, I will have to say, every time you could go, we'll say that, and it's like, are you sure? I don't know if you, do you want that fight again? He goes, it'll be fine. I'm like, every time you say it'll be fine, it never is. It never is fine. So, aye, I mean, looking forward to getting a wee bit of the bollock billing for Damnation, a bit of the crippling alcohols, Jesus Christ, I hope I can say it on stage, and else I will be fucked.
Yes.
Crippling alcoholism situation, or where it leaves you as a promoter when it happens, or some of the stuff and the way it's all panned out through the year. Well, I'm hoping for the second act, the second section of it, that we're going to get a wee bit more planned with the audience questions. I've put out something on the group to say people can submit questions anonymously or not, and also some festival fails. I want to hear. Kelly keeps promising me if we do this festival fails thing, it'll be the greatest thing that ever happened, because the stories that people tell about the horror things or the funniest things we've all seen at festivals will be the best thing we've ever done. And then we're going to have Mr. Tom Begley up telling us some of his tour manager tales of some of the
Mate,
shit
I've got a couple of crackers. I've got a couple of cracker festival fails, real good ones.
Okay, so a bit like that again. Well, we've got it done on paper, and you get a bit nervous at the time. Like, are we going to rattle through that in 30 minutes, or is it going to be like we're not going to get to it? Like, because usually our plans in front of us, we never get to the stuff that's there. So, and also, I'm looking forward to just going out and having some festive fun. They've been there and just having a drink with folk and having a good night. I mean, Manchester especially is the one that's going to go until the small hours, but every night to go out there. I mean, the first night in Brighton, we have I think we're going to have more agents in the crowd than we are just fan listeners. So that'll be a different
about 10%. I think 10% of the crowd is going to be booking agents in Brighton. Fuck me.
So come at us. You're listening this morning, guys. Come at us. I love all that shit too. So if you've got anything to clap back about us with, I'm sure the audience will be more than happy to see us put under the microscope too, as promoters who maybe don't do everything the way that you'd like us to do. So I've always been very open about that as well. You can come and get. So I'm hoping by the time we speak next week that we've sold fucking 1,000+ tickets for We Lost the Sea tour, and we're in a situation where we're buzzing about how the tour's gone. We'll be bust. I'm absolutely certain of that. And Christmas is going to feel like a struggle. But I'm hoping that we're buzzing from another successful tour. Because for this one, it's a weird one because you get two smaller, intimate dates than we've done before in Cardiff and Brighton. And then we've got this monster of this giant sold-out breadshed that we're kind of worried about how we're even going to get everyone into. So I'm sure it'll be a mixed bag as well of feelings going from bit to bit. So, but we've got Shifty out with us, Tom Begley's back with us two. What could possibly go wrong?
Mate, I am running in just going, I'm fucking the most excited man in the world.
So what is like? So obviously Manchester sold out. Brighton's always been a small room, so I think now you've got guest list in there as well. There can only be like 15 or 16 tickets left for that at the point of recording this to Tuesday night. So I'm hoping a few more for that. And Cardiff's got a bit more capacity, but again, let's get as many people through the door. But a Friday night in Cardiff for a Christmas show sounds like a lot of fun. We've never been to Cardiff before. Let's see a good turnout for that. And let's have a cracker. I'm really, now that it's a bit more planned and it seems Damnation's out of the way and some of the legwork after Damnation's out of the way, I'm really looking forward to just going and having a good time with a brilliant audience. I mean, fuck, we feel like the listeners knew us the last time we were out there. They're another, what's that, 8 months into the lives of Gavin and James, so no doubt we'll hear some other stories.
Yeah, and if anyone's got any questions, Gav's put a post on our Facebook group today. If you go into Cardiff, Brighton or Manchester, let us know your questions. It would really, I think the show would be better if you submit them in advance. Also, if anyone's got recommendations of where we go after the show, we'd like a bit of local knowledge, a little rock bar or whatever.
Yeah, I saw before someone eat, afterwards someone go. I mean, we get caught out with that a couple of times when the last one was like, okay, we'll go to a place like Glasgow, Manchester, and you finish the show and you're a bit like, why are we in some wee crazy old man's pub in Glasgow where they're trying to kick us out? So let's organise that. That's the purpose of it, isn't it? The whole purpose of it, so we're not just jumping in a van and straight to the next show. So
absolutely.
Grab the tickets. We will see you guys there. If you can submit a question beforehand, gives us a chance to think about the answer properly. Sometimes it's great, creates a wee bit of magic when you do that off the cuff, but you can have a few questions in a row you try to do off the cuff and there's not enough there. So fire them in. So do you have a fact of the week for us this week, James?
Mate, I've got a really good one. We were in a budget meeting this week and Sarah said something and I was just like, I just immediately opened up my phone and wrote a note. Good fact of the week. So people wonder, this is how sad I've got. You can't say anything to me without me thinking, that's a good fact. People wonder why festivals are so expensive. Well, get this, right? Last year at Arctangent, we served 5,551 meals. And I don't mean, this is not the food traders. This is our crew catering. Did you go to our crew catering? You went to 2000 Trees crew catering, didn't you?
I did.
I don't know if you went to Arctangent or not.
I didn't go to Arctangent because obviously with the crew catering at 2000 Trees, I was with Kelly and the kids. So try to be responsible at Arctangent without Kelly and the kids, not being responsible. So I have to say that's not surprising. I was only in one time actually because of the catering, the food trucks around about both your festivals are excellent. And with kids, they always want something. There's usually pizza, and so we found ourselves at the food trucks a lot for pancakes and pizza. But when I went in that one time, I was like, I can see why you done 5,551 meals because the queues are long, and it doesn't really seem to be. Once you've got a wristband, it's all good in the hood. It's like you're not using food tokens the way you are at Damnation. You're like, so you get a wristband and you feel particularly peckish that day, you could just go back and just top up as many times you like.
Yeah, so just for anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, basically we have one caterer that is purely there. They arrive when we're setting up the site and they feed us during the setup, and then they feed all the bands and all the crew during the festival and then during breakdown. And the guy who runs, I mean, the two guys, Leon and Nick, what fucking lovely lovely people. They're just so friendly and fucking. They've only been working with us for a couple of years, and they are like part of the team. We have a very like long-term contractors. Everyone's been around. The fencing company have been doing it forever. The sound and light company have been doing it forever. And these guys feel like they're going to be the next level. Anyway, my fact is 5,551 meals at Arctangent, and at 2,000 trees, 8,745 meals. Fuck me.
That is a lot of feeding.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
I mean,
it's over 30 grand. Over 30 grand per festival that we spend on just feeding bands, staff, us in setup, us in breakdown, mental.
And it's, I suppose for you guys, when you get to that, it's just the way to do it, because the other options are doing it, trying to do the food trucks or that, it just becomes messy and unpredictable and unreliable, and then afterwards it's 1,000 invoices for 1,000 different places. We get a small version of that, obviously. Damnation works for us, but we don't have anywhere we could put in a full care intent, and also we're not there long enough to make that worthwhile. But fucking hell, it's a
the thing is, 9,000 meals is like hard to. There's actually, we did it lots of other ways for years, but once you get to a certain size, if you're going to do 9,000 meals, how are you doing 9,000 meals? You need somebody dedicated to doing that. Yeah. So it's the security guys eating 2 or 3 times a day. It's the guy doing the main stage lighting, the main stage sound. It's our production manager. It's Sarah running artist liaison when she eats. It's like it's all of those people. It's everyone, everybody, and it's Opeth when they're there. It's 9,000 fucking meals like.
And is it all one queue? Is it a wink queue where if you're Opeth or James Scarlett, there's a wee bit around the back where you can go and pick up the nicer slab of steak?
No, there's no wink queue at all. Although I always get to the front of the queue, and I queue, and then I say to Nick, mate, I'm really hungry today. Because in setup we properly work. We work really hard. It's like really stressful, but we're physically out there putting up the fencing and stuff. And so I make sure Nick knows that I am the guy that's hungry.
Yeah. I mean,
some people don't eat like you. I've been on tour with you. You don't eat. You never eat.
I just don't have a massive.
I'm always happy to finish your pizza any night of the week. But
I don't. There's 2 things about it. I don't have the biggest appetite in the world anyway, and never have. I don't like eating in the morning at all. In fact, I could happily go to noon or 1 before.
Which upsets me. That really upsets me on tour.
Ever. I mean, especially I was in the news office we had for ages. I would eat my breakfast would be when I was going to get my lunch. I would have a big lunch, and then that became popular. Then I was intermittent fasting before anybody knew what intermittent fasting was. I was doing that trend. 15 years ago. So that's the first thing. And then the second one is that if I've got any sort of nervous tension, I am twice as bad. So like I had to, like, Kelly would try and force feed me. My mum would try and force feed me at all damnations. Like, we got your burger and chips, Gavin, and I try. I mean, but just like my stomach's like, I just can't. There's not my stomach's in knots at the minute. Damnation 2008, 9, 10. I'm too excited. I'm too the last thing I want to do in the world is eat right now. I've got no appetite whatsoever, and I'm a bit like that on tour, thinking that okay, we're going to go up on stage and we're going to have to perform to a crowd. The last thing I want to do right now is try to chew pizza, and you and Tom Becker are just sitting with a few big slices of pepperoni like you haven't eaten in weeks. I'm like, okay, whatever floats your boats, guys, whatever floats your boats. I'm just over here nervously pacing.
Great. You keep pacing, I'll keep eating your pizza. So that's my fact of the week. I just wanted to quickly tell you the best and worst things that happened to me this week. This is not a weekly segment, but the best thing that happened to me is that I was in Sainsbury's with Kit buying the weekly shop. He was standing up in the in the trolley as I was pushing him down the aisle, and I just walked past the guy, and he just goes to me, "Thanks for booking Primus, mate," and then he just walked off. And the kid was like, "Does that guy know you?" I'm like, "No," and he's like, "Are you famous?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "What are you?" It's hard to explain to a 7-year-old what happened there because the guy didn't hang around for a chat.
Yeah.
So that was my best thing.
You get that as well, because that's the. I mean, I suppose that's it. It's like, for some folk, it's like, oh, there's the guy who booked Primus, and I want to say thanks, but at the same time, he's in a shopping centre with his fucking kid, and I'm not expecting him to stop. Now, maybe he didn't even want to sit and stop, but just wanted to say thanks for booking Primus, and that's it. It's they ones catch you at the bottom. I mean, you get. I mean, they sound like an absolute prick. You get used to it at Damnation Up Tangent or Trees, but when you're when you're in a service station or walking down in a Lidl and somebody says to you, that is a fucking shocker. So, aye, thanks for booking Primacy. You never shouted, "What about Mariner?"
No Mariner, mate. Anyone who likes Primus doesn't like Mariner. So that's not true. But
So, and what's the worst thing happened this week? Was somebody stopped you in a supermarket?
Mate, I feel like this is it's like a confessional now. So the worst thing that happened to me this week, I sent you a GIF earlier on of Steve Harris, because we were talking about wearing our own merch, which I like to rinse you for wearing your own merch. I never wear my own merch
Because you're a fucking coward.
It's Steve Harris Iron Maiden. And also the other thing I never do is do video calls. I don't really like video calls. When I'm on the phone working, I'm usually on the phone. Don't do video calls. Anyway, so, and the third thing I never do is talk to cool people. Anyway, this week I had a meeting with Marshall. Me and my brother, we met with Marshall. And this qualifies as like cool people. It's like Marshall Records, the people who are doing the amps, and it's basically just like 6 people. They're all fucking. I think our relationship with them is great, and they are. But it's a cool thing to do. And as the fucking Zoom meeting started, I literally looked at myself and just could see this 2,000 trees fucking. So basically, I got up that morning, I put on a hoodie. Turns out it was the 2,000 trees. It was the 2,000 trees hoodie, Gav.
James, you're sitting here. Listen. I did that chat yesterday with them Skewer, right? They're coming on to the call. I was wearing the nude fucking Damnation one. Know what I thought?
I thought you were going to say you were wearing a Dimskura.
See,
you've got a Dimskura cap on that you've made yourself.
Hold the record where I can. Boys, can you come up? Can you come up here and be my friends? No, we're on a Damnation nude. And I noticed that even before I went on there, I thought, you know what? Fucking right it was. Best merchandise in the game. You think I'm not going to fucking wear more merch? You off? Are you out your mind? Of course I'm wearing the fucking Damnation merch. Don't... James, it's not a concern, mate. It's not a concern. Wearing Iron Maiden merchandise is a concern, right?
Mate.
That's it. Or Slayer or Metallica just being one of the, like, what do they fucking goths call them? The normies? Like, being one of the normies that I think you're a bit special because you got your Slayer t-shirt and Prima. That's a bit more concerning. You get a 2,000 t-shirt you love, wear it proudly, mate. Wear it proudly.
Okay, I will. So, in terms of my my weekly waffle, I don't know which bits to talk about. I feel like they're all a bit serious. Have you watched the Puff Daddy documentary?
Yes. It was
I feel
brilliant.
like we should have talked about this before. The new one, the recent one, the 50 Cent one.
The Reckoning, like 50 Cent spent 20 years buying up different bits of footage about him, and then at the very end he managed to get footage that Puff Daddy was recording himself before a court case that he thought he might win, with the thinking of, oh, I'm going to have this footage on our side to have something to like market, and 50 Cent's just sitting there like, that's unbelievable footage with this guy basically saying, I'm an absolute scumbag and I'm losing this fucking fight and I need you to get scumbags with me and do it. I'm like, Puff Daddy does not come out of that whole documentary looking well.
No, it's incredible. The first bit where they've got that footage, you're like, how the fuck have they got that footage? And then you get to the end and you're like, he doesn't pay anyone ever for anything. So basically it's just like he's done a lot of bad things. and this isn't the worst thing he did
No, but that's the reason it
by a
exists.
long stage. But his whole thing is like he never fucking pays anyone
But and
to do
I tell you,
anything.
it's weird. Like, just to go off on an absolute tangent. I have for the promoting side of things. So I pay everyone all the time, even in ones I'm like, I feel like I could fight that one. I still do it, right? And I've had situations where that's came back to pat me in the back. People have helped me out with stuff that I never, and I've been involved with another sort of business where we never done that. And I get bumped a lot, and it wasn't my doing to think like it. And I tell you what, that was one of the most pleasing things about it, that he ended up getting fucked over by he's a billionaire, or en route to being a billionaire, and he wouldn't pay the cameraman. This documentary, the 50s, probably making millions off her, is because Puff Daddy couldn't be bothered, or just knew he had so much power. It's a bit like we said about the whole Donald Trump thing, that he would pay his contractors to 70 or 80%, because that's at the level where it's just no worth the 2-year court case to try and get the rest for the building. And Donald Trump would just do that and let contractors always lose out in their profit margin because he'll just pay you a certain rate. And these guys, that's a business model that works for bastards. And it's good when you see that business model come back and bite you in the arse in shape of a 4-part documentary.
Yeah, it's incredible. So for anyone who has no idea what we're talking about, so basically it's four parts. The first two is kind of like about his early years, and it's got a lot of Biggie and Tupac in it. And to be honest, I am not up to speed. Like Lizzie was like, "Oh yeah, I know all about this. I know about," and I'm like, I don't really know. Like even like the battles that were being fought, I didn't really know anything about it. I've never watched a documentary or read about it. So that was really interesting. And then the last 2 episodes goes into the really dark fucking, I mean, it's like you need a trigger warning just to even talk about it. It's like the dark shit that he's got up to since then.
He's a sexual abuser. I mean, that's what he went. Well, I think he ended up getting done for, was it? I mean, the charges he ended up getting done for in comparison to what they were trying to charge him for. It was like eliciting prostitutes or transporting people for prostitution. It get done for very minor things in comparison to what the charges were. But and in America, I don't think anyone is shy to just call him out for being a fucking sexual predator and a bit of a bastard. So, I did know I didn't like I was a huge hip hop fan, but I did listen to a lot of Eminem, and I did quite like Tupac and Biggie and that when I was growing up as well. And I did know about a lot of stuff, and then it was like that whole Eminem often does the whole Diddy was the guy that fucking got Tupac shot. But when you see like the level of jealousy, like you get a guy that's that powerful, that fucking rich and famous, and still just taking out that jealous trait on his friends. Never mind the pure victims, the poor victims that he had along the line. Just people that like Big Biggie was supposed to be his friend. I mean, I remember that when that Faith Evans and that, well, I'll be watching you and I'll be missing you, and you're thinking there, that's his best pal doing his whole like, oh, here's a tribute to him. And it's just like him using the platform of a guy who had talent. Because the one thing that was true from the very start is P. Diddy's a terrible artist. He's crap. He's not good at that. But if he takes other people's music and it just says some stuff into the mic, he can just
I didn't know that. I wasn't even aware of that.
Aye, it was never like,
that was like news to me. It was weird.
It's an incredible, just for a music, like this is a music podcast, isn't it? It's an incredible music documentary, and the diving into the scene across there between LA and New York and that whole hip hop culture, and just 50 Cent's just like the world's greatest troll. I mean, that's like his whole thing. So you've seen it like recently. He done an interview for ABC News because it's one of the few channels that will allow in the prisons. So he's doing an interview just in that because he knows it's about no way Diddy's going to be able to see him getting interviewed about the fucking bit. You're like, the guy's a fucking troll. You know what I mean? He bought the first 2 rows or first 3 rows of Jarrell's concert in New York, one of his big showpiece concerts, because he wanted all the seats to be empty when Jarrell came out. He's like, he's a fucking, it's his life. He just wakes up in the morning and chooses violence.
That's amazing. I like this guy.
Credit to 50 Cent, man. But that is mate, you are going deep diving in your music documentaries these days.
Mate, so I've also started watching, there's a Beatles documentary that's just started on Disney, which is like it's like a, I don't know, 8-parter. So I will come back on that
Yeah, come back in that. Come back in that.
I've watched 2 episodes. It's good. So the last thing I want to say about, which is, I'm just going to find it, I hope, which is mad, is that did you see the O2, the O2 that you went to see Radiohead?
Yes.
Just announced that they are, I'm going to find it. Here we go. Today, the O2 and the Music Venue Trust. See, the Music Venue Trust, for anyone who doesn't know, is like there to fucking save the independent music venues. And there's this big thing when they want like bands or corporations or big venues to support them. Never happens. Anyway, just thought this was fucking amazing. They've announced a groundbreaking new partnership that formally recognises the essential role of grassroots music venues. For the next 3 years, the O2 will make a donation to the Music Venues Trust every time an artist headlines the arena for the first time. This year alone, more than 50 artists have made their headlining debut at the O2. So it's like I just thought it was fucking great. Like, it often feels like no one's ever going to support the sort of, like the shoebox toilet venues that are really important, but no one cares about. Like I used to go to the Lomax in Liverpool. That's my number one. Doesn't exist anymore. Sometimes it feels like none of those things are ever going to exist eventually because no one gives a shit. And then you get bands like Enter Shikari giving £1 from every ticket of their arena tour to the Music Venues Trust. And then you get this, and I'm like, I just saw it and I was like, fuck, that's cool, because the O2 is like a big
massive, isn't it? It's the biggest arena for the UK.
In the whole UK, right? It's the biggest indoor arena, surely, in the UK.
And the thinking for that will be being the new artist is their nod to the new artist is here because these other venues that the Music Venue Trust are supporting exist. So I think that's the reason why they're not saying when Radiohead come and do it, or I don't know, fucking 9 Inch Nails or Slipknot or whoever come and do it, they're not going to give you a donation because, well, they're paid their dues and these guys have been doing it for 20 years. But when you get whoever the next up and coming artist is, when they do it, then we're doing a nod to the fact that the venues that they've come through. I assume, I haven't seen this news, but I assume that's the reason why, if it's new artists that headline the venue, that's why they're paying it. I mean, ever the cynic, how much is the donation? Like what's happening with it? It's gonna, like, it always feels when you get these pound things as well, like, oh, give £1 and it goes back to these venues. Always feels like that's passed on directly to the fan, the ticket buyer. And why is the ticket buyer getting charged an extra £1 to support the venues that they're already going to support when they go there and they buy the drink and support the band there? Now you're going to go somewhere and pay £1 at that side as well. It feels like it's just the ticket buyer getting stung each time. But if it's a step in the right direction, then great, because you're right, there is too many of these venues that just die, go away, are not getting used. And then what do you do then? It's you're not going to get these tours. I mean, I think we've already seen a bit of sometimes with the whole Brexit and how difficult it is to get in and out the UK. It's not that whole one day in and out anymore. So they're taking that day break now. The money has to get picked up somewhere along the line for the band. It's what we don't need is more shit like it happening. It'd be good to get more programmes like this to support these venues.
Yeah, agreed.
Good news.
It's good news. It is good news.
You're being very positive there. Okay. Well, listen, you've talked about good news. And what is this? I fucking knows what episode this is 90 something. Did you get your first super sub? Did you answer the first message to somebody? Is this a guy in Tesco? Like, how the fuck did it reach you?
Who knows? Mate, who knows? I saw it somewhere. Like, it was like hey, I've messaged you already and you haven't responded. So Gary Blackwood, I mean, this is how disconnected I am from this. If this guy had made up the fact that he was super sub, I wouldn't know. So I'm going to assume that at some point you picked Gary Blackwood. This would be great. Just people messaging you going, yeah, you picked me out of the jar of joy. So Gary Blackwood wants to be side of stage to the Daily Nail. So Gary, you can do that. That is something we can make happen. The way that happens is when you arrive at 2000 Trees, I'm I'm trying to think. They're playing twice, so they're playing on the Forest or the new stage. I'd recommend the new stage. It's a much better view side of stage. We can do either when you arrive, go to event control, get them to radio artist liaison, and we will sort it out for you.
Okay. Gary Blackwood, mate, you pulled off a masterstroke. You are going side stage to watch the Dirty Nil at 2000 Trees. Good. Much more of this action, please. Much more of this action. Like, just take a wee, when you're ever feeling a bit ambitious, just take a wee stumble into some of the messaging, the Instagram, the group, the messaging, and the page. Just see what's in there. Some stuff's interesting. Some people try to send you vinyl.
Oh, well, the answer is yes. One person a year can come side of stage at 2000 Trees, though. One person a year at Arctangent. We don't, let's not make it a snowball.
Of course.
But let's not forget that the Dirty Nil have agreed to play a song for my son. So, Gary, if you come to the Thursday night set, I will be side of stage as well with my boy. Let's go there.
And okay, well, let's keep this action up. And from this week, from the Jar of Joy, we're going to go with Lee. That's not enough detail, Lee. Okay, you also have Davis in your email address. I'm assuming Lee Davis then, but your name just came through as Lee. So, Lee, you are this week's pick from the Super Sub. Anyone else wants to get involved in that or just support the podcast, as well as go and bang your fucking tickets to be honest to see, patreon.com/2 promoters 1 pod. Some questions, James. Are we lose bruising it?
Or you like to talk about your mate?
I mean, it's one of my favourite things, actually. It's, I mean, I haven't even spoken. I'm assuming he's still a sponsor. It's been a while.
Did you get your Christmas delivery?
No.
I've had a Christmas. The cranberry has arrived at my house.
That'd be great. I'm looking. No, I haven't, but I'm very much looking forward. I would doubt. I mean, maybe it will arrive before I head to Bristol tomorrow, but it'll be here for me arriving back. Looking forward to that. I have noticed, like he said, some lovely looking orders have been getting posted lately, and no one seems to be going with the 1 or 2 or 3 bottles option. They're going for the 8, 9 or 10 bottles option. So listen, keep that energy up. Yeah, if you're going to go and book, buy the hot sauces, go and get the free delivery option with it and do over 35, 40 quid. It's so bad to like my mates, like my mates, the ones that don't listen to the podcast, the ones that don't come at Damnation, they bought an order. One of my mates got like 6 bottles of Lou's Brews in his fucking kitchen. So he must have just get fed up of me talking to him about Lou's Brews sausages, and they sit when he'll get fucking get my way to buy some. So it's
did he use the pod 15?
Do you know what? I don't even know if he knows that's a thing. So probably not. So okay, Lou, enjoy all these extra bonuses for people that are just not using the pod code, despite the fact that I'm telling them it. So he's got. I went through them all last week. He's still got them all there. He still has all his Christmas ones, the spicy jet, the cranberry sauce. He's the hot sauce for Christmas, his specials. So if you're going to go and make a new order, make sure you add some of them in. It's still some 2 promoters 1 pod one. Always hurts my feelings when people put up 15 bottles and there's no 2 promoters 1 pod in there. It feels a bit personal posting that on our group and that bottle's not there, considering it's an absolute cracker, the Bump Peach. But otherwise, go and fill your boots with whatever takes your fancy. I am looking forward to getting mine. Pod 15 at checkout, lousbrews.co.uk.
Good stuff. Okay, some questions. Right. So James Harrott says, who would you say is the most unsung hero of running your fests? Someone that usually stays really low profile but makes a big difference and deserves a shout out.
It's a
political hot potato, this.
But I mean,
because whoever you say, you fucked everyone else off.
You're stuck. I mean, it's not like I've sat here and had a million hours to think about either. Because what do you get? So unsung hero. So that's like everyone knows about Paul. Everyone knows about Angela.
Yeah, Paul is a song hero.
He's a song hero.
We have sung about Paul.
Man. He gets too much praise for my liking sometimes.
Yeah.
So you've got Paul, you've got Angela, you get Marios, more recently Callum. And then you get like my family and Kelly to come down. The people, they're names that people hear and people that people know they're involved with Damnation. But like, how many times have they heard the name like Paul Henry, the Wilbur that does sort of the artist liaison for the 3rd stage, or Andy Dawes for the main stage, or Tom Stokes for the 2nd stage? Probably not very often. They've been with us for a long time. And it's weird roles for them, because that's not like Sarah, artist liaison, in with the bricks and mortar, in with the deals. That's like show up on the weekend and just be there as a friendly face to tell people where tills are and showers and how to get their food tokens and recommend what food van to go, and just be a friendly face to an American band landing in a Manchester car park. And sometimes as a festival that gets more and more professional, it's in your mind to be like, oh, these roles should be industry people that are properly dynamic, and they do this week in, week out, and they're drilled in, and they could also answer some technical questions and can also tell you about this, that, and your bus park and everything. And then you get the feedback from Damnation about how fucking much the bands loved it and how friendly they thought the crew were, and how that response to somebody who is fundamentally a fan but in a position of responsibility, but you doing it professionally, how that makes the band feel in comparison to some of the robots that might get a Vacuum or Hellfest, or people that have been hired in, like the way a security are hired in. And then you go like, no, well, until there's a reason not to, you really should stick with these people that have been with you for this time, and they're clearly creating such a great atmosphere for the bands in the backstage area and being that friendly. So those three especially, I mean, I'm going to pick out another couple of names, and then I'm going to get roasted for the 40 that I didn't name. But Sarah Bellamy's been with us for a long time and always been super helpful. This year it helped out. She had like Miley and Paddy involved for this year to try and tighten things up with the whole, just making sure the backstage area was even more pleasant for the band. And we have Graham, that he was with us. So we had Mike Tate, it was like a volunteered crew leader, and he's Offski. Graham's a guy who's been with us forever, with another bunch of volunteers. I'm not going through every single name, but Graham's a guy that fucking feels like he's been there since the initial years as well. So there's a lot of people behind the scenes that really do put in a lot of work, and they'd be unsung heroes because you probably haven't heard their names before, the same way you might have heard for Paul and Angela.
I'm giving Natasha. It's Natasha, right?
There you go. Thanks.
I'm giving her a shout out.
You just saved me, because there you go. What a legend. So Mola is her nickname is to us. Now, she was just a Damnation pal forever, and it was a couple of years back. The merch area was just getting a bit less. It's fine. We're offering bands to come and sell for free. I mean, at the end of the day, we're not putting together a Kevin Big Scary Monsters allotment collab and chat, like, so you're a bit like, it's not that level of professional, because we don't take that money back in, and somewhere you need to make that compromise. But Natasha came in for the bands that were doing it for the 20%, and then Maka came in to help her this year, and I mean, Natasha's been fucking great. So good shout. If you can knock a couple of them up your sleeve before I get a call Thursday afternoon about the people I forgot.
Mate, she's out there just like talking to people. She's out there just making sure everyone's happy in the food area. Like the punters and stuff. I think she's amazing.
I mean,
she's brilliant.
massively friendly. And do you know what as well is about something like, we've got such a humble team. I mean, I like to think, I mean, I wouldn't describe myself as a humble guy, but I'm a guy who's mod stuff to know that other people are doing the job that I do better than I'm doing it. And Natasha's like that. She's like, well, I went to Art Tangent, it looked like that merch area was run with military precision. I am going to get in touch with Kevin, and I'm going to ask for advice. So sometimes people get roles, then they think that that's them, they're the be all and end all of that role. Natasha's not like that.
Amazing. Yeah. Big thumbs up to her.
Is that when you say you'd want to see anybody because you're the reason that everything's successful?
Of course. No, but so, I mean, just like you said, way too many people to mention. So I'm not going to mention everyone. You can't mention everyone. It's weird even trying. I always think that during the running of Trees or ATG, Ollie, Sarah and Rob Safety, without them, the festival doesn't run. So they've got loads of people working for them, and there's loads of people outside of that. But without them, we're fucked. There's also, we have like permanent staff, like people on the payroll, a core team who are very unsung, very in the backgrounds. Like, so Dan, Danielle and Mitch, they do all the shit that just makes this happen. They answer the ticket queries. They do the social media advertising. They sort the side decoration. You know, they book the kids stuff is like fucking, like loads and loads of shit. They are unsung. But I've got a top two, right? These are my top two unsung heroes. I mean, 2003s.
I mean, the fact of rating people, you're definitely getting fucking strung up.
Second place, Rich, the farmer at 2003s. You know Rich, right? He helps us at Arctangent a lot, but at 2000 Trees, he's the first guy in, and I don't mean because he lives there. He's the first guy. I'm radioing it. I'm ringing him saying, mate, the lorry's on its way. I'm not going to be there. Are you there? He's like, yeah, don't worry about it. I'll sort it. He's the first guy in. He's the last guy out when we've all fucked off and I'm lying watching the fucking British Open golf on my couch. Rich is still like being like, oh, they came to collect the gas and I had to carry 60 bottles on my own across the field because it was too muddy. He's the nicest guy I've ever met, and he's also the hardest working. He's one of the hardest working people. Absolute legend, Rich. But you only get second place, Rich, I'm afraid.
I know, that must be impressive.
So first place is Simon, right? So he's like the ultimate unsung hero, because Si is the only person that owns Arctangent and 2000 Trees. And me and him, we've talked about this before on the pod, but it's a weird dynamic where me and him are just like hanging out Wednesday ATG, having a chat, and someone comes over and they're like, thank you so much. Your festival's fucking amazing. And I'm like, well, he runs it as well. He owns it. And like, so Si's happy to be unsung. He doesn't want to be fucking there. Look at me. I run a festival. He doesn't give a fuck about that. He just does his job, and really important, like sales and marketing job he does, hugely important. But during the festival when it's raining and it's muddy and someone needs to tow a car, change a car battery, jumpstart a car, fucking move the trackway, I'm there with you watching fucking We Lost the Sea, and he's in the car park towing cars out. Yeah. He doesn't even tell me about it until like Monday next week. So fucking Si's my unsung hero. And he'd be an amazing guest on the podcast, but he told me at Damnation that he doesn't want to do it. So I think honestly, it'd be a really good fucking guest.
Yeah, no, I agree. But you do get there are folk like that. They're a bit like, you know what? And it's a weird one as well, because there's a difference between not wanting to be recognised and not wanting people to come up and just you going about your life, and that's not. I mean, we even like we're not against that, but we still find it weird. I mean, it's not like we're no running backwards and then high-fiving each other like, oh yes, look how many fucking likes she got. But it's still, but we're happy to, but yeah, with some folk, they might not even be as far in line with that. And he is definitely that. So he'd come on and be a bit like, no, I need to do that. I can see why. It doesn't surprise me at all. And he's just one of those guys. It's different as well though, but when somebody comes up and they are saying, oh, thank you for your festival and doing everything great, and then the guy who's also there equally and doing it with you, and then also doing his jobs that even take away the fun part, which is supposed to be the payoff, the band, you're a bit like, it would make me feel uncomfortable. I mean, I don't have a situation like that, but I would always do that. And then to just Paul, we wouldn't even have the same ownership stake in two festivals with the guy. It's never mind if I was sitting there and it was side beside me. So I've known Si a long time now as well. He's always been a lovely guy, a lovely, pleasant guy, and always a pleasure to be around. So good shout. You had to pull one out of the bag to be better than Rich, but that was a good shout, mate. Poor Rob, somewhere Rob Scarlett's flipping tables. Yes.
No, he's sung.
Nah, he's sung. You know, he's sung.
Sarah, Rob, these people are sung now. You can't.
Nah, you're right.
You've been on the podcast. You're not an unsung hero anymore.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay. Let's just Rob Scarlett. Please explain the extent to which you work in deals to get bands to reform. Are you a genius? I assume he's talking about me. Yes, but I think some of these ones just land in James's lap. I think we tackle these differently. How do you tackle them, James?
I mean, I think Rob is suggesting that we get too much credit. He sees this stuff online. And he's like,
of course he is. I would honestly think yeah, of course he is.
Look. Do I get too much credit for reunions? I don't know. I mean, I think it varies wildly, right? So I don't spend a lot of time chasing bands to reform, but I think there's a bit of like bands just know where they know we're here. Like if you're like Oathbreaker, like how many places are you going to play? If you're Human Fly, where are you going to be? So I think the skill that I have is that Well, it's not a skill, but the thing I do is that every so often, like I'll see, we'll be in Brighton in 2 days' time, and Will from Black Peaks will be there, and we'll have a few drinks, and I'll say to him, mate, just I know you're never going to reform. Black Peaks are never getting back together, but little wink, if it ever happens, you know where I am. Same with I will message Jamie Lemon's manager or the Mars Volta's manager, just be like, just reminding you, we're still here. Human Fly was a different thing. It's like Hayden knew I loved Human Fly from fucking 15 years ago. So he was like, oh, I can make this happen. So he goes and makes it happen. And there was something like Let Live. I just think it's the reputation of the festival and my relationship with the booking agent. So did I make Let Live reform? Of course I didn't. But once they were going to reform, then Trees is like right in the conversation. And a similar thing with like bands like splitting up, because like, where did Ithaca want to do their last show? Arctangent. Where did Svalbard want to do their last show? Arctangent. It's like, was I a genius to make those things happen? No. Am I a genius, Rob? Yes.
Yes. Okay. I mean,
actually, the last thing I'll say is, you and the listeners saw how it works. Million Dead. Frank Turner came on the podcast. That was genuinely a real conversation where he just mentioned Million Dead. And then the next Trees that came around, Million Dead played it. They're on tour this week. So that all kind of happens. But Frank and the management and stuff, they knew that if they're going to come back, Trees is a great place to do it.
Yeah.
Because the audience are there, and the money will be there, and like, it's not rocket science, but it's all about connections and knowing people and like people respecting you.
And it's the same. I do actively chase reunions, and I think the more successful you get it, the more that you get the confidence built. Like, we can make this happen. The bigger Damnation gets, so you're going to give, especially some of these bands when I'm talking about it, like you're a Ted Malls or your Stamping Grounds. You're saying for Ted Mall especially, come back and do the show that you wanted to do in 2007. You know what I mean? It's like, this is the chance. I mean, Stamping Ground, I was actively chasing Stamping Ground. I tried to make it happen, because what happens with Night of Salvation is it makes it even more delicious. I mean, it just makes it. That's why Night of Salvation is built on special sets and reunions and albums, and when you've got stuff like that and you're going back to bands, but we try it with a lot of bands, and sometimes you get a Ted Mall to go, fuck, you know what, we are going to come and play an arena, 2,500 people, whatever time they were, and fill it and have a great time. They were coming back genuinely for that one show. They were doing no more than that. But you come back and you do it and you're like, oh, fucking hell, this is so great. And now they're doing the support for Sixth. You know what I mean? So who knows what happens with Ted Mall from here. But you come back and you're like, oh, you scratch that itch. A lot of bands break up in their early 20s and they don't, 20 years later, like, what was it we broke up about again? Like, what was it like? We've matured 20 years later. Like, we had something great there that we enjoyed. Would you not like to just go out and like have a mosh pit again? And you get that. Stamping Ground, I chased. There was a bit of, we're only coming back in the right circumstances with the right people. We're not just going to piece together a band with some people that might have passed through the pub once. They were very honest about it. And then as they put it, I was quite persistent, because I knew there was a thread there to be pulled. And once there's a thread there to be pulled, but I also tried to have Alter the Plagues. I'm currently still desperate to get Alter the Plagues to come back and do a set. And they are keen, but it's a lot. I think one or two of them live in America, and maybe somebody lives in another part of Europe, and like, that's not something, just logistics alone, you could be talking about thousands just to get in their room together to see if they even want to play that music again, never mind anything else. But we walked away from this year's Damnation with Stamping Ground singing the praises of Damnation, getting them back together, and them enjoying everything that they've done since. Reawoken the beast, as they put it. Ted Mall absolutely loving it, and now going to do shows with Six. Now, I had two bands approach. We had a band on the day. I remember a band saying, listen, there could be potential for us to have a bit of a chat and see if we'd like to come back and do a one-off like album for you guys. And then there was another band got in touch as I was coming up the road, still burst, going, listen, if we're going to come back to do this, we want to have a shot at Damnation. Any chance we can do this sort of like Ted Mogg style, come out and play a room that we'd never done with production we'd never seen before. And that stuff, that starts becoming its own self-fulfilling prophecy, doesn't it? It's like you're creating these opportunities for bands, and then bands be like, I want a bit of that too. Some bands are just too small. Well, too small back then, too small now, would never generate any sort of interest. There'd be a lot of who's. Some bands were in that middle, that whole sort of that stamping ground, they were something. They did play Download, they did play Sonosphere. People did know who stamping ground were. And when they came back, it's a bit like there's a bit of, oh, okay, let's go. But we've also had that version, you know, saying, like, we never reformed Carcass. Carcass reformed Carcass, and we were the first UK festival to get them way back in 2008. And there's been, if I was looked behind me, there's probably a fucking bunch of examples up there where, especially now, if a band reforms of their own volition, they might choose to do Damnation just because it works for their circuit rather than me chasing them. But at the minute, you'll get the odd one pinged out to a Send More Paramedics or a Alter a Plagues or these type of bands quite regularly with me or Paul just going, how are you with that? You mentioned a few years back. In fact, I don't think it's a reform band. It was a band we went for that I think you'll like a lot from America that we asked years back. And as they put it, they were just too immature and never had their shit together. And would we still be interested now that Damnation has become this fucking behemoth and they're still a relatively small band that a lot of people won't know of? And I was like, fuck yes, man. Because the people who do know care. And that's the bookings that I love. I love the bookings where people like, I never thought I'd get to see that band. Here they're going to come across and do Damnation. So Damnation makes those things possible because that band's not coming across to try and tour the UK off their own back. And it's not going to work. And nobody, whereas they might be able to build something off Damnation.
But also, I think that there's like a don't be a prick thing here. So like with Frank, I've hung out with Frank Turner many times over the years. I don't think I've ever asked him if Million Dead were going to reform because I would assume that wasn't a question that he wanted to happen. He would work it out or not on his own, in his own speed. And I think that is a very delicate balance. Like Black Peaks, Reuben, Ocean Size. Like, I mean, I literally just had a White Russian our tangent with Mike, and there isn't a conversation about Ocean Size. We've had the conversation. I don't think we don't need to talk about it again.
Although Mike keeps threatening to come on and have the conversation on the podcast, which I'm always like, I'm here for it, mate. I am here for it.
But he's only invited if he's going to come on and say, surprise, we're in.
You get your tickets from 6 a.m. for Oceanside.
Yes, let's do that, Mike. Okay, great.
That could be the, and you're right as well. You need to go into these things where I says like you do that. It's only a question. And also when you're doing that, it's a mark of respect for both sides. You're not asking that band to come back and try and sell you 6,000 tickets for Damnation. And that's not what's happening with Ted Mull or Stamping Ground. And you're getting back because it's a mark of respect that you love that band. You felt like the opportunity you got to see them, if you even did get to see them, was very fleeting, but no doubt in a pub somewhere. And you're a bit like, I'd like to hear White Label with Arena production with that band. Then I'd love to hear Officer Down in a fucking arena with 2,500 people going apeshit. And then when you see it pan out, play out, it's like that's exactly everything you wanted. And when you're going to those bands, well, you need to be realistic about the money. Like every member of that band will be making more in their day job than they will be to go back into rehearsal space and other. There's no big budget money coming back for these bands either. It's just, do they love it enough to want to do it, and do you love them enough to ask? And I think most bands get it, and even the bands that knock you back, they usually do it in quite a like, thanks for asking. I mean, it's nice that somebody still gives a fuck in a way, rather than just like that's insulting you'd even ask us that. That really happens.
Absolutely. And just to be clear, when Gav says there's no big budget money, just in case Jamie Lemon or Mike Van Aert are listening, come on, we could do it.
There's as much big budget money as you want.
Whatever you want.
Okay, where you got next?
Incredible. I feel like we're
straying into overstaying our welcome territory.
I feel like we have. I don't know, but you're having a good time. We can.
Mate, I'll always have a good time. I tell you what. Let's say I'm going to crowbar one last question in because it talks about this reunion situation. Liam Crowhurst With Let Live extending their run into next year and being announced for download, does that make you more sceptical of the first ever or the final ever UK Fest clause that some bands have been given? Are you certain 100% that we haven't answered this? Are you certain 100%?
Never.
Never. Well,
no,
here's
we haven't
a
answered
test, James.
this.
Here's a test, James, because if you give a different answer and you have answered it, then you're going to look a bit like a fucking dick. So I just, maybe I've read it before and I thought that I had an answer, but there you go. How do you feel about you being sold Let Live in this run of 5 or 6 dates and that money and then them saying, okay, that's it, we're back?
No, I've no problem at all with that. I think, firstly, I don't begrudge bands getting out there, staying out there and earning some money. Were Let Live phoning it in, fuck me. I mean, go on Let Live socials.
You wish you didn't. You wanted to phone something in.
They don't phone in any show. I saw a thing the other day where he put water all over the stage and then he legged it and he slid under the fucking riser. And I was like, he's going to fucking die.
How's that boy known hospital?
Yeah, exactly. So they're not even close to phoning it in. They're on fucking fire. So look, I am skeptical about Slayer and Motley Crue. I'm fucking winding up myself to be skeptical about Megadeth's final album and tour. You know, I fucking love Megadeth, but we'll see. These bands, they just do their thing. Black Sabbath did it. Ozzy's done it a million times. But Let Live is not the same thing. I think, you know, that they were not a huge band and they're on fire and they're amazing. So it's totally fine. Was it even announced as maybe it was announced one-off, I don't know.
Is there more validation to that as well when you get a Frank Turner or whoever, I don't know the Let Live singer's name, but they actually have another act that produces more income for them and they're going and doing their side or their previous project, obviously for less money, playing to less fans and lower build slots, that there's a bit more like the validation, like that's not a cash grab. That's the opposite of a cash grab.
No. Yeah, absolutely. But also, right, so this is not directed at Liam. This is directed at everyone. We're all fucking paying $9.99 a month to stream music for fucking free, basically, on Spotify or whatever. So basically, fuck everyone who wants to have an opinion about bands earning money. Like, they've got to earn money somehow, right? You are not paying to buy their music anymore. So let them fucking tour. Like, I have zero problem with Let Live. I have a problem with the audience. Buy more t-shirts, buy more vinyl, or go and see more shows, because otherwise what are you expecting to happen? We'll have no bands left. We'll have no bands. We'll be watching manufactured
I think a wee disclaimer on this whole point that my assumption is the vast majority of this podcast listeners do that because that's why they're listening to bangers talking about the ball like a building. I mean, you only care that much when you go to as many shows as I'm sure that our audience go to. So, before the rum hits you and you start trying to attack the audience,
it's hard to get Gav nervous.
So, to wrap things up, let's talk about heroes that support the industry. There is fewer that do more to support the industry, from bands to events and everything in between, than I saw merch. I had to fucking laugh after this whole building us up for the We Lost the Sea tour and come on here and giving it the big guns and try to get people to back us. I mean, I saw merch. The first homepage was up. Sleep Token, call in book. Yes, let's go and get yourself a sleep car, right? And then the third bit was the Radiohead shop or store that I've already mentioned the last couple of podcasts. The band between Sleep Token and Radiohead, them Skewer. I'm not talking about like a small click, their own fucking page for the record that's been released, which God knows how many of them I saw even end up getting in because they sold so many last week. I'm like, what is going on? Why are them skewer between Sleep Token and Radiohead and a homepage of fucking eyesore merch that sell for Aerosmith and Oasis and the Stone Roses? It's mad. It's a story to be studied, and it's a success story for a UK band, an extreme metal UK band that we still get behind, because it's nothing but positive for everyone involved and for people to get like, oh, you know what? there's absolutely nothing stopping us from also having that opportunity. You can't just be like, okay, that, because they are a fucking extreme metal band, and they're on a record label that doesn't book those type of bands. They are between Sleep Token and Radiohead on the Eyesore merch fucking homepage. They are out touring now with Flee Lost to Sea. It's brilliant. I smiled when I saw that. If you haven't got that record yet, go and get your hands on it if there's still copies left. Otherwise, they now have Bolt Thrower vinyl represses, Stone Roses shirts redone, Bring the Horizon digipacks. There is something on eyesoremerch.com for absolutely everyone. In a time at Christmas when you're fucking struggling for gift ideas, and go and get an Iron Maiden jigsaw, or a Sleep Token colouring book, or a fucking Oasis beanie or hat, then you're going to get something for everyone. Go and check it out. Use pod 10 at the checkout and support those fantastic people.
Good work, mate. Good work. Okay, so on the record, mate, something fucking mad has happened to me. There's this band called God Alone who have played Arctangent about 1 billion times, right? And you know, we talk often about how for me, I go deep on some bands and some bands I don't go deep on. It's like it depends on what I like and what someone recommends and whatever. Basically, I'm here to admit, everyone, that although I've booked God Alone 2 or 3 times, I've never gone in on a God Alone album. And then when I posted my 100 albums, you know, I sent you a list of 100 albums.
Yep.
Someone said, why are you not fucking sharing it? And I shared it. And the first comment was like, why haven't you? This is a fucking God Alone album. It's amazing. So I listened to the God Alone album, and it's fucking brilliant, right? It's like, so it's quite eclectic. Part of God Alone is math rock. They're definitely like a pure like 2013 Arctangent math rock band, but also they have heavy bits. There's a song that sounds like Converge. There's fucking solos. There's like loads of noise and like, so, and it's all catchy. And it has blown my mind in terms of like, where's this sit in my album of the year list? It's like, fuck me. What top thing is it in? Is it in the top 30? Is it in the top 20? Is it in the top 10? Like, I only started listening to it 2 weeks ago. It's fucking brilliant. The song is called Bleep Test. The Bleep Test. More people need to get into this band. Like, it's stupid me selling you this because I am the Arctangent booker who's booked them 3 years ago. But okay, everyone, this is like the new one people of hour for me. They're fucking great. They're amazing. We should all go and listen to the new God Alone album.
So, God Alone. God Alone are a band, when people see them, no one leaves unimpressed. Everyone who sees God Alone is impressed. Every time I hear about God Alone, it's just ringing endorsement. So much so that I have always had on my radar. Hayden's a booking agent, but all on him saying, I've always had this band on my radar. They are one of those bands that seem to continually get the slot that you never catch. Like, I'm going to go and see God Alone at Arctangent. You missed that bit. I'm going to see God Alone supporting Coil Guns, and I think Pupil Slicer might be that. Missed that. Go in for Pupil Slicer, Coil Guns, and then God Alone. I get in just as God Alone finish, and Coil Guns are coming on a night that I'm trying to get there in time to see God Alone, because all I hear is a good thing. You go out and you see the boys for Worn Out, and the boys for Worn Out are saying, have you checked out God Alone? It's like, once you see this band, honestly, they're going to be... So, everything you're saying rings true. It's just like... And I feel like I've been hearing that now for 2 years, that this is a band that everyone needs to get behind. They really are that good. But for whatever reason, they've just had, for me personally, just pure bad luck. Like, just never catch that set that I want to go and catch. So, I'm in this. I mean, sometimes you recommend bands and I've already, but like, I'm going to nod politely and not go and listen to that at all, because I know exactly what you're trying to sell me.
You never nod politely, ever.
It's some Opeth rip-off thing, and I'm like, okay, James, I'm sure it's fantastic. I am going to, I feel like it's a dereliction of duty at this point with God Alone and Me. The journey that we've just never crossed that path, and I hope it's as good as everyone has told me. So I am
Let me
looking
know.
forward to that.
Let me know.
I will let you know. I will let you know. And I've passed up on a few on the records lately, been caught on the hop, let other people take them for me. I'm taking advantage on this podcast of recouping 3, and all 3 are already on it. But I want other tracks on it too. I won't go into them in detail because it is 3. I want Dim Skewer, the Dust Eater, because they've only got the opening track Elderberry in there, and they need this one on too. Overhead the Albatross, Paul Lynch, for anyone who was there at Art Tangent or Damnation. That's the one to close on. That's the gang chat. It takes a while to get there. Overhead the Albatross make you work for it. They don't just serve up to your plate. You enjoy the music with them, and then the big payoffs with the climax. They're not just chucking out 3-minute tracks. So when you hear this one, you're like, this is an odd choice. Like I did the very first time I ever heard it, and then by the end of it, you're like, this might be the greatest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Go all in it. And We Lost the Sea have no tracks on there from the latest album. If they had Hearts as the opening track of A Single Flower, and it was one track in where I knew that they'd done it, I knew that this wasn't going to be like they'd fallen off or just recreated Departure songs or recreated Triumph and Disaster. By the time this goes, this is the one, if you were at Art Tangent, that Mark comes out
Oh,
and
mate. That
the-
song.
and they have, mate, to
So
have the
good.
balls to go out. I mean, like to walk into a crowd
Yeah.
that size by yourself with such a fucking lonely little riff, and
Fucking
then
brilliant.
keep it
Brilliant.
going for 10, 9, 11, 12 minutes as the rest of the songs just cascading around a bit and still just having a bit. It's like, it ends up sounding like a Converse song. It's so fucking heavy and brilliant. But that wee bit, it's just pure post-rock album. Those 3 tracks deserve to be there. If you're sitting here and you're about like, fucking hell, done an episode and it's about selling tickets for a post-rock show, and I don't think I'm really into post-rock, at least give those 3 tracks a try. What is it, 20 minutes your day? And it might change. Give that show, give that whole tour a chance. If it's coming to your neck of the woods, it'll be exceptional. How many times have we recommended bands? 2 years been doing this. 2 fucking years been doing this. And people going, oh my God, if it wasn't for you talking about Meryl Streep, if it wasn't you doing it with crippling alcoholism, if it wasn't for you talking about fucking Overhead Albatross. It's like, this is the one. Listen to these tracks, get them. Let's throw some love God Alone's way. Let's fucking get to these other 3 bands. God Alone might be the next 2 promoters one tour.
Yes, they will.
So, welosttosea.com. Get those tickets for them else did. James, we are about to go on tour. Get your
I'll see you
fucking tickets.
tomorrow.
Whatever's left for Brighton and Cardiff, and we will see you in a couple of days.
Tomorrow, mate. I'll see you tomorrow.